Chinese economy is declining, and we've been reporting on different incidents. So we've been warning, and Miles Guo, the founder of New Federal State, we've been warning about this Ponzi scheme of Chinese economy and the CCP and the involvement of CCP and state-owned companies like Evergrande, like Sunac, like Country Garden. They all either defaulted or filed bankruptcy last year. Yeah. And then recently, a couple of months ago, we saw this shadow bank, one of the biggest shadow bank, Zhongzhi Group, filed bankruptcy also. So we know that real estate sector accounts for 35% of the Chinese economy, and shadow banking is even worse, like 43%. We're talking about 70, 80%, let alone like there are like hundreds of industries related to real estate, right? So what's going to happen next, Joseph?
Well, I mean, you're seeing the trickle effects of the failing Belt and Road Initiative already. I was just watching a video the other day about Forest City and Country Garden, how it's basically a ghost town at this point. And a lot of American investment is basically under the scenes in those types of developments. And it's a scary time because it could have a big trickle effect here in the United States and in Europe as our investments start to fail. And meanwhile, China is really just laundering that money into their military, and through the corruption of their military, they're not spending it very well either. So it's a scary time that we live in. Absolutely. Mm-hmm.
We heard about, I don't know if you heard about all these different terms like Rotten Tail Project and the tofu drag buildings. Like this is kind of like the CCP like brand or like Chinese characteristic terms when we talk about real estate. I don't know if you've heard about it, because those first of all, when you talk about the real estate, when you talk about those buildings, you don't really own any land, right? When you purchase, when you buy a property in China, like it's kind of like a 70-year rental agreement you get, right? After 70 years. Essentially it belongs to the state, and also when you look at the quality of this project. You mentioned about corruption, because a lot of money got embezzled and laundered, and when you look at like the bankruptcy or the defaults from Sunac, from Country Garden, from Evergrande, you wonder like how could they actually lose $1 trillion or something. Like there's some of them like billions of dollars, even $1 trillion in debt, and still they're not finishing up their projects, because a lot of people they're buying like future homes, they're buying future projects, and then the projects got just unfinished. That's why we call it what do you call it, like unfinished project, the rotten tail, because it's called rotten because the tail is rotten. You never get the complete project or complete building. And then some of them they just move in with no heat, with no electricity, with nothing. You can find those videos on YouTube. It's really tragic. But
you buy the Chinese, the CCP's dream scam. You know, they sell you on this vision of, oh, you're gonna start making payments, and you're gonna have this beautiful piece of real estate eventually in this environmentally friendly city, and you make the payments, and then they take your money and they go buy more land, and then they start more projects that they're not going to finish that they can pre-sell to other people. And then all that really happens is you get sold on a dream and then you lose your money. And that's how the investment market works in China, at least for the Chinese people. It's tragic.